Hello and welcome to ThePrint. I'm TCA Sharad Raghavan and I'm going to be talking to you about why experts in the crypto space are calling the way WazirX has handled its $235 million hack flimsy, contradictory and nonsense, and why this incident has again brought to the fore the need for regulation. I'll also be going over the legal hurdles that WazirX will likely face if it goes ahead with its lost socializing program, and also the new North Korean links that have been unearthed in relation to the hack. Now, on 18th July, WazirX, which is one of India's largest cryptocurrency exchanges, informed its users that a cyber attack occurred in one of its multi-signature or multi-sig wallets involving a loss of funds exceeding $230 million. This amount, the exchange said, worked out to 45% of its assets. The exchange suspended trading activity following the attack, filed a police complaint in Mumbai, and reported the incident to the Indian Computer Emergency Response Team, or CERT-IN. So far, it has been able to recover only a small percentage of the stolen cryptocurrencies, the company informed ThePrint when we contacted it. Now, even as WazirX's subsequent handling of the crisis has drawn widespread criticism, new information has come to light about the potential involvement of North Korea-backed hackers Lazarus Group. We'll get into that in just a bit, but back to the story first. On 21st July, the company said that the attack was a force majeure event beyond its control. A week later, on 27th July, it said that it was implementing a fair and transparent socialized loss strategy to distribute the impact across all users equitably. Basically, it meant that it would take crypto assets from users who did not face a loss due to the attack and distribute them amongst the users who did. Regarding this, it also released a poll to its users asking them to choose one of two methods by which this loss socialization could take place. The manner in which WazirX has responded to the attack has been met with very strong criticism from users, other industry participants, and industry analysts. They say that the exchange, instead of taking responsibility for the loss and bearing the financial cost, is indulging in blame games with its business partners, transferring the financial burden to users, and in the process harming the entire industry. Following the criticism, WazirX on 29 July clarified that its strategy was not legally binding and that the poll was a preliminary step to understand the opinions of the users. Here's what it told ThePrint, and I quote, "We're considering approaches based on successful use cases where exchanges have been able to retrieve stolen funds and compensate users. We will still consider the best approach based on the community consensus. Our priority remains to ensure that we are able to help the affected users." End quote. Taking to LinkedIn following the attack and WazirX's responses, Edul Patel of WazirX, a prominent cryptocurrency exchange in India, said that the potential solutions offered by WazirX ultimately favored the platform over the users. He said that these options lacked a clear plan of action and did not specify how the platform would take responsibility for returning the users' money. He added that the WazirX team's communication lacked ownership and responsibility for the loss, and that the company was effectively socializing the losses while privatizing the profits. Similarly, Sumit Gupta, who's co-founder of CoinDCX, another prominent crypto exchange in India, said that the first contribution to making up losses should always come from the company, which in this case was WazirX, and the treasury and assets that the company holds. He also said that the plan to make customers directly absorb the 45% of losses was utter nonsense. Gupta of CoinDCX also said that the way WazirX was handling the situation was not community first and was hurting the other ecosystem participants. When asked about these comments, WazirX told ThePrint that the respective founders had concerns over the exchange not using its own resources to support the loss of assets. However, it said, a majority of our funds are tied up. which makes it difficult for us to take that route. As a result, it said that it was unable to access or redistribute these funds to users. This is why we suggest the strategy of socializing losses, it said. Our goal is to provide users with access to the remaining funds on the exchange, aligning with our user-first approach, it added. Akash Karmakar, a cybersecurity specialist, fintech lawyer, and a partner with the law offices of Panag and Babu, noted that WazirX hasn't so far conducted even a root cause analysis, which he said was a basic requirement of incident management. He further said that WazirX's argument that the hack was not preventable and beyond their control was flimsy and self-contradictory because they've not established the root cause and have not been able to recover assets. Now, before we get into how the hack happened, let's see what else WazirX did after the hack that has angered users and its peers. WazirX said that the attack took place in one of its multi-sig wallets. Such wallets need multiple different authenticators to authorize transactions before they can be completed. In the affected wallet, WazirX said that there were 6 authenticators, 5 of which were with it and 1 with Liminal, which is a digital asset custody and wallet infrastructure service provider. A transaction in this wallet needed the approval from at least 3 of the WazirX signatories, followed by a final approval from Liminal's signatory. On 18 July itself, the day the attack was made public, Liminal took to X to say that it could confirm that its platform had not been breached and that its infrastructure, wallets, and assets continued to remain safe. It added that the breached wallet was created outside of the Liminal ecosystem. This effectively placed the blame on WazirX's infrastructure, which the exchange soon denied. In a 25th July post, WazirX effectively laid the blame for the breach back on Liminal's infrastructure. It said that following an investigation, it had come up with 2 likely scenarios of how the breach happened. In the first scenario, all 3 WazirX signatories would have received malicious transactions directly from Liminal due to a potential breach in Liminal's infrastructure. In the second scenario, all 3 WazirX signatories would have been compromised by malware on 3 different devices. It said that going by its preliminary analysis, it was more likely that scenario 1 was the one that happened, basically saying that it was Liminal that had been breached. Liminal, meanwhile, has been maintaining that its systems have not been compromised. This back and forth quickly drew criticism from analysts and competitors, who said that it was leaving users divided, confused, and unsure whom to trust amongst the platforms. Now, let's get into how the hack could have happened. According to Cipherma, an external threat landscape management platform, the attack was carried out by the Lazarus Group, and that this was a state-sponsored attack linked to North Korea's Reconnaissance General Bureau, which is a primary intelligence service of North Korea. It added that Lazarus typically attacks crypto exchanges worldwide. The attack, according to both Cipherma and Karmakar, who's the lawyer that ThePrint had spoken to for this report, could have taken place through several ways. One could have been through social engineering, where the authenticators of the transactions were tricked into revealing sensitive information or performing actions that compromised the exchange's security. The other method could have been for WazirX's systems to have been compromised through phishing attacks, with infection through malware, or by exploiting weaknesses in the software. According to Karmakar, this brings to the fore the question of how secure the whole system actually is. Now, apart from criticizing WazirX, industry participants and analysts have also talked about how the incident makes clear the need for regulation in the industry, something that the Indian government has shied away from doing so far. While speaking to ThePrint, Edul Patel of Mudrex said that such a hack had not happened for the first time and that it won't be the last time either. However, with regulations, He explained, what becomes possible is that when an event like this takes place, there's a clear pathway for investors to get their wealth back. Otherwise, they're dependent on the platform, and the platform can choose to do whatever it wants, he said. According to Patel, the Indian crypto industry is about $2 to $3 billion in size. With existing domestic compliance and tax requirements, forcing the bulk of the users to conduct their crypto trading on international platforms. He estimated that the international crypto activity by Indian users would be 3 to 5 times larger than what was happening in India. He added that bringing in regulations in India would help bring this money back to the country. Now, WazirX has been arguing for the crypto industry in India to be self-regulated rather than to have a government-appointed regulator. Several senior officials from WazirX have spoken publicly about this in the past. But following the hack, several analysts have pointed out that WazirX is faced with a choice or a crossroads right now, and its actions will dictate whether the government looks favorably at self-regulation or not. On the one hand, it could choose to take the responsible approach and take the brunt of the loss and show the government that it is capable of self-regulation. On the other hand, it could do something like loss socializing and destroy any hope of self-regulation and autonomy. But if the government chooses to regulate the industry, what form should such regulation take? Subramaniam Oruganti, partner in EY India's Financial Services Risk Management Division, has some answers. First, he told ThePrint that regulators should consider introducing more compliance requirements for crypto exchanges, including mandatory security audits and regular penetration testing by certified external auditors. Second, he said that an official regulator should mandate a certain ratio of users' funds that have to be held in cold storage or in offline wallets, thereby increasing security against online attacks. Third, he suggested that regulators must mandate that exchanges establish compensation funds to protect users' assets against security incidents. Finally, regulators must require exchanges to use AI and ML to find real-time threat detection solutions and find ways to prevent them. The government too appears to be at a crossroads here, with the Ministry of Finance reportedly looking to release a discussion paper on crypto regulations this September. This paper will reveal whether it will choose to regulate the sector, leave it to its own devices as it's been doing so far, or grant it self-regulatory status. In its responses to us, WazirX said that it had looked at past instances of such hacks and found that user funds were returned the fastest through the loss socialization approach, and that's why it had suggested it. So what are the potential legal hurdles for WazirX if it goes ahead with this approach? The lawyer we spoke to said that WazirX risks opening itself up to legal hurdles if it does go ahead with this, because if the terms and conditions of the agreement with the users includes a provision for such unilateral transfers, then that would likely be viewed as a one-sided contract. Indian courts have time and again ruled against such agreements that offer no meaningful choice to consumers. And if WazirX retrospectively includes such a provision, then that would also be open to legal challenge, owing to the fact that these terms have been unilaterally amended without any prior notice. The third legal or regulatory challenge comes if WazirX stores its users' funds abroad. Now, we don't actually know if it does, but if it does do this, then the loss socialization process would constitute a capital account transaction where money is going from one account to the other, which would require approval from the RBI before being completed. And as the lawyer said, you can bet that the central bank will never approve such a move. Things are still unfolding, but so far, that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching.